Hello and welcome to PokéSins.
Typecasting!
Misty looks really pleased to see a river.
Is there a bridge near here?
We lost every bridge on the river, and we started to rebuild this one first. We should have this one back up in about 6 months.
Some real-world companies can assemble temporary bridges in 2 to 4 hours, including vehicle and rail bridges.
There it is.
Did she need binoculars to see the river?
Hey, maybe they'll cook faster if we turn the fire higher.
No.
Could you take us over in your boat, please?
Be glad to. But before I do, maybe one of you trainers could catch me a Sudowoodo.
Is the plot of the episode a game-esque fetch quest?
The Sudowoodo is a real rare kind of Pokemon, but I have never seen one.
Hey, could you do us a favor that takes 5 minutes? Yes, but first you must catch a very rare thing that I have never seen.
If we bring back a Sudowoodo, will you take us to the other side?
Yes, you have my word on it.
That reminds me of when I got a quote for a service and it was like 4 times market value. Like, if you don't want to do it, just bloody tell me. Letting itself out.
Speaking of things that are dense, Psyduck, you can help us look for Sudowoodo too.
Rude, but good voice acting. It took them literally 20 seconds to find one. I know they sort of look like trees, but the people searching know that too. It's not even subtle, it said its own name. It doesn't look like local trees either. I know I'm making a big deal of this, and it's a reference to the one in the games, but they could have made the legendary hider a bit better at hiding.
That's just a bunch of trees.
Oh, I see. It's not that it can hide, it's that everyone who looks for it is an idiot.
We're not looking for trees, we're looking for a Pokemon called Sudowoodo.
Misty literally just saw a fucking picture of it. She knows it looks like a tree.
To avoid capture.
Sudowoodo looks pretty interesting. Huh? Sudowoodo! Guys, look! A Sudowoodo!
Did she see it through keen eyesight or environmental clues? No, it literally moved in front of her. And for the record, it took them about 1 minute to find it.
Well, maybe if you spent a little less time reading research and a little more time doing research, you'd know it is possible.
I like how they decided to lighten up their argument by standing on tree stumps.
I'm sure you two didn't come all the way up here to argue.
We're looking for something.
Again, good delivery.
We're looking for a Sudowoodo.
Well, that's quite a coincidence, because we were just arguing about Sudowoodo.
Of course you were, because this is a fetch quest plot.
My name is Pierre.
And my name's Marie.
Like the Nobel Prize winning married couple. Cute.
Sudowoodo's more like a grass Pokemon. I can't believe it's a rock type.
Naming this episode typecasting is actually very clever.
Yeah, I can't believe it either, but all the experts claim the Sudowoodo's a rock type.
How is this a thing people don't know? Unless it's never been caught, this should absolutely be indisputable. I mean, frankly, this would be a cool idea if they weren't scientists. This is probably the single most interesting thing about Sudowoodo. But them being scientists means they should know better.
But when my colleague opens a book, he shuts his mind to the possibility the experts are wrong.
Why is this being framed like she's right? He's got a snooty, arrogant, I'll be proven wrong this episode vibe. She's wrong.
He chooses to ignore eyewitness accounts of Sudowoodo using fire attacks, which clearly indicate that we need to look for some more answers.
The only fire attacks Sudowoodo can learn in Gen 2 are Sunny Day and Fire Punch, both from TMs. Both Tyranitar and Geodude's line can also learn Fire Punch, and like half the Pokemon in the bloody world can learn Sunny Day, that is not evidence for anything.
Some research in the field of love.
And that
The angle Misty pulls Brock away is wrong if he was just holding Marie's hand.
I have a Pokemon that can spawn a Sudowoodo and settle this once and for all.
Where is Ash looking? And for the record, it has been solved once and for all, and she's still doubting it. The sparkle as he sends out his shiny Pokemon. Nice touch.
There have been reports of Sudowoodo that look like plum trees and cherry trees and oak trees too. Their leaves even change color like real trees.
Wow, they must be grass types.
They're clearly just holding them. He didn't even imagine it as described. Also, plum, cherry and oak trees have very different bark colours, and Sudowoodo doesn't change that at all. The lines around Noctow's eyes are miscoloured.
Look, there it is.
He immediately spotted it that time. How are other people failing to find one? I will say, clever use of Noctow to find it though.
Is Sudowoodo using Vine Whip?
Maybe Sudowoodo's really a grass Pokemon after all.
Why would Sudowoodo pretend to be a grass type? It camouflages by pretending to be a tree, not a different kind of Pokemon.
Oh, Sudowoodo must have picked this up in the forest.
Yeah, but at least it has good taste in vines.
Fuck does that even mean?
That's a razor leaf. But these leaves are dried up.
Wow, why would he use those?
Why would a Pokemon use dried leaves for a razor leaf attack?
They're spending a very long time on this. It's not even convincing.
That one looked real too.
Okay, that's an interesting twist.
I just don't know what to believe anymore.
When you do, just let me know and I'll agree with you.
Come on, Brock, have some self-respect.
Battle it with another one of your Pokemon, and maybe this time it'll use a different attack.
Remarkably clever for her.
Totodile, I choose you!
A Pokemon that Vine Whip works against? Genius. No lipstick.
Alright, let it go!
They're not committing a crime here. They have as much right to the Sudowoodo as Ash does.
They're gone.
And they took Sudowoodo with them! We'll never find it again.
Damn, if only you were in a forest full of Sudowoodo.
We'll find that Sudowoodo, and if we don't, I'll leave my friends and dedicate myself to working with you around the clock 24/7 every minute of the day and night.
For some reason, Brock's being extra fucking creepy. And where did Misty get the hammer? Wobbuffet.
What kind of Pokemon are you anyway? Sudowoodo! It says, why don't we get something to eat?
Weirdly, Sudowoodo is more of a character than Brock or Misty do this episode.
Just tell us what type you are. Sudowoodo! According to Sudowoodo, it's the type that wants to eat.
Remarkably witty.
I don't care what type it is. Let's just take it to the old man and get our boat ride.
Sorry, fucking what? They lose their balloon like once an episode. When they finally have an incredibly rare Pokemon obtained legitimately, they think, yeah, let's trade this for a ride across a slow, narrow river, instead of, you know, giving it to their boss.
Well, you said you'd take us across if we brought you a Sudowoodo.
No, he said he'd take Ash and Co. across.
Are you really a Sudowoodo? Why isn't it saying anything?
What? I know he said he hasn't seen one, but he knows they look like trees, right? What else does he think it is?
Maybe you don't like to talk to strangers.
Well, whatever it is, it doesn't look too healthy.
Hey, that Meowth is talking, but Sudowoodo isn't, and that's the important part.
Ta-da! I use this squirt bottle on Victory Bell.
Nice representation of the squirt bottle.
Come back!
Maybe I can catch Sudowoodo before they do.
Is he so fucking desperate not to take them across? They're catching it for you, you bellend.
Sudowoodo must be miles away from here by now.
Maybe send Noctowl out again? Find a different one? No?
It's Sudowoodo! It must be hiding from Team Rocket.
Do they genuinely think there's only one? Why is everyone so thick this episode? And why is a Pokemon that disguises as a tree hiding on a rock and not among trees?
Don't worry, Marie. I'll calm Sudowoodo down.
Brock's weird run. Why don't they just catch it? The lengths they go in the show to avoid catching.
Hey, easy now. I'm your friend.
Okay, well, censoring that.
Like a friendly Lickitung. Here, try some of my PokéChow.
Brock is going to catch this, right? It fits perfectly. I feel like he's not going to, in which case 5 Minun.
We saw you use a Vine Whip attack back in the forest. Could you do that again, please?
Is this actually the same one? It can't be.
Sudowoodo!
Ash, I wonder if one of your Pokemon could get Sudowoodo to use its Vine Whip attack. Pikachu, use your Thunder Shock!
This captive Pokemon isn't doing what we want it to. Attack it until it does.
That was a Thunder Shock!
How can it be an electric Pokemon?
I get that Mimic is a confusing move to understand, but it pisses me off that she keeps thinking it's the type of the move it uses.
This old research book lists Sudowoodo attacks.
Old research book, so this isn't even new research. This has been an established fact for a long time, and it's clear that Marie hasn't done any fucking work.
And apparently it uses one called Mimic.
An attack that imitates other attacks.
It may learn all of its attacks by mimicking.
No, Mimic is an attack. You literally just said so.
I still say Sudowoodo is a rock type. All the research says so. And rock types are weak against water.
The man explains why he's sure something will hurt a Pokemon before immediately doing it.
Turn that water off!
Oh, that's a bad thing now, is it? I mean, yes it is, but you just told Ash to attack it.
I wonder if one of your Pokemon could get Sudowoodo to use its Vine Whip attack.
But because the arrogant guy did it, that made it bad.
Sudowoodo!
You ain't going nowhere!
So it is the same one. Ugh. Some small tweaks to this could take it from frustratingly crap to clever and interesting. Funny, even.
We want Sudowoodo because we're the ones who caught it.
You stole this Sudowoodo!
No, they didn't, Ash. It was wild. Fucking protagonist bias all over this.
What are you doing here?
Marie, you sound like you know him.
I sure do. He's my grandpa.
Of course he fucking is, because contrivance is the spine of this episode. This isn't interwoven, this is lazy.
When my favorite granddaughter told me she was looking for a Sudowoodo to do some research on, I decided I'd ask everybody I met to help me find her one.
Doesn't justify any of this shit.
Cyndaquil!
Cyndaquil!
Oh, Sudowoodo just used a slam attack on Arma.
Shut up.
Sudo? Come on.
Did Sudowoodo seriously just do a what's that over there?
I believe that was a feint attack.
Ugh, Minun.
Wyatt knows the low kick too.
Shut the fuck up. All that book with its encyclopedic knowledge of Sudowoodo is doing is showing Marie is an absolute idiot and this plot is pointless. Seriously, if this had been a story about just trainers and not scientists, it could have been a journey of discovery about an unusual Pokemon. As it is, the vast empirical knowledge that exists in the book they've carried the whole episode just shows that Marie is a scientist who ignores all substantial evidence with the justification of just asking questions.
Then you're saying every single report is wrong.
I'm saying that there's a possibility they are.
Sudowoodo uses sneaky tactics like feint attack and low kick. It's tricky, slippery, and cowardly. We found the perfect Pokemon for Team Rocket.
I sort of agree. Wobbuffet. Actually, replace Wobbuffet with Sudowoodo.
Now Wobbuffet will battle Sudowoodo.
Not so fast!
Remarkable personality for this random Pokemon.
Use your flamethrower on Wobbuffet!
It totally just protected them. They should catch it. Forget Brock. 5 Minun if they don't get it.
Sudowoodo copied Chikorita's Vine Whip, Pikachu's electric attack, and now Cyndaquil's flamethrower.
Yes, we're aware. It's been clearly stated several times. You're not smart for having worked this out.
It can copy all those attacks and more because it knows Mimic.
Pierre literally fucking told you that.
And apparently it uses one called Mimic.
Wobbuffet, counterattack! I've never seen a Pokemon use a counterattack. This is very informative.
Because you're a terrible scientist.
Have Cyndaquil get Wobbuffet's attention for a second.
Pokemon League rules say only one at a time.
Cyndaquil, try another flamethrower!
Wobbuffet, counterattack!
Counter wouldn't help against Flamethrower. You need Mirror Coat.
It looks like Team Rocket's blasting off again!
Fucking bollocks. One for blasting them off like that. Another 2 for them not deserving it. It's a wild Pokemon. And the 5 for them not catching it.
We found out enough to settle our argument.
We found out enough. Are you kidding me? Pierre was a bit of an arse, but he was absolutely right with everything he said. Fucking we found out enough.
The research turned out to be right all along, but I just couldn't believe it until I saw it for myself.
And I'm glad you couldn't, Marie.
Don't pitch this as she was right to question it. I see this on par as, is fire really hot? Ow. But is it really hot? Ow. But is it?
You see, we never would have learned as much as we did about Sudowoodo if we hadn't come here and observed the real thing.
Incorrect. It was literally all in your fucking book. Who wrote this story?
Next time we disagree, we should focus on the facts, instead of on winning an argument.
The argument was about facts, and your disbelief of them. No lipstick. -82. God, this one could have been so much better. Yikes.